Hi Claire, thank you for coming on Valley
Thanks
Talks.
for having me, Anna. What a joy, as always.
Not as always. We'll run through the questions I have, but we'll just start with what made you decide to become a freelance VA?
So, I've been an EA for 16 years, for the best part of working my way up the ranks. And I was working for a founder a couple of years ago, and it was the best thing I ever did. I learned so much. I was building businesses with him, doing the operations, really soaking everything up, and I didn't realize how much I was soaking up. So when I left him to go and work in a school, which was a silly mistake because I thought it would be a good idea having 6 weeks off with my daughter and having all that holiday, but it was just not playing to my skill set, so I didn't last very long in that job. But then I chased some money, went to go and work with some quantum physicists who obviously are off the scale smart, but they just didn't have the warmth or the people skills that kind of I gravitate towards. So I just said, enough's enough. That's two jobs that I just left within quick succession, which is really not like me at all. I just quit. I think a lot of people that I speak to who have gone self-employed have the same thing where they have this like catalyst moment where they say, I'm done. I've been talking about it for years, but I didn't have like the confidence. I didn't have the network behind me. I didn't have, the financial stability, which of course are the three things that you kind of need to be able to make the leap because it is scary, especially going off on your own, not being on PAYE. You don't have anybody looking after you, you don't have anyone paying sick pay, holiday pay. So it was incredibly scary, but I just felt like I'd reached that point in my career where, I'm coming up to 40. I've kind of done it. I've been doing this job for a long, long time. So why not? I had the skill set, had the confidence, had the financial stability, and I just thought, wow, it's either going to be genius or ridiculously stupid. And I got lucky, and it turned out to be an absolutely brilliant move.
Yeah. Did you start the process of building your freelance VA presence whilst you were still employed, or did you just go right, end that job, and then 100% of you went into your new business?
Yeah, yeah. So I obviously had been talking about it for years, but had I done anything? No. I was quite happily poodling along in my career, and then I just thought, I can't do this. I mean, it wasn't a great end to the last place. They were quite micromanaging and patronising, and I think that was kind of what snapped me
Mm.
into going, I don't want to work for another male knobhead. I know a lot of the girls will resonate with. You just hit that peak where you just go, I can't. So no, I didn't have any idea of what I was going to do. I literally came home and I said to my husband, I've quit. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I just know that I'm not going to go back to that role.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I even want to be employed. So what I did was I phoned up my previous employer 2 goes before that, which was the founder I was working for. And I mean, he's always been my biggest champion, and he really did throw me a lifeline. He said, do you know what? Why don't you come do some project work for us for the South African branch that I'd actually set up with him prior to that. So I knew everybody. I knew
Yeah.
how the business worked. We've got some project work. Why don't you come and do that with us for 3 months? It'll set you up, give you some cash. You sort out what you want to actually do, but it means that you're not going to lose any income initially. You're just going to go straight into doing something that but also just as a self-employed. So I thought, oh, that, why not? Let's just do it. And I had the laptop because I didn't have my own laptop. I had the laptop from the quantum physicists, and I was like, well, I've got to
Mm.
make a website and a brand really quickly.
Yeah.
I just went 2 feet in. I thought, if I'm going to do this, I'm going for it. So that's when Clairey Poppins was born. It was a brainchild of mine. It just popped into my head. I thought that'll do. If I need to change it at a later date, it'll do. But evidently, people seem to bloody love it. So
Yeah.
I'm all right with it. It's sticking. Bashed out really quick. I mean, it was a basic website, but luckily my sister-in-law's now rebranded me and give me a proper glow up on my website.
Mm.
But at the time, it was just, let's just get something out. I've got 48 hours before I have to return this laptop and I need to buy my own one. Let's just do
Oh
do
my
it.
God.
And then I just tapped into my network, and I've been talking to other VAs about this as well. Like, I just spammed everybody I knew, and because I had a big founder-led network of business owners, founders, entrepreneurs, I literally just messaged everybody and said, hey, guess what? I'm I'm going it alone. Does anybody know anybody, or do you need any support? Like, I'm free, here I am. And then I landed my first lovely client within 6 days, 7 days of doing that. And she was somebody that used to work for us in a different capacity. So she again knew me, like me, trust me, which is always the
Mm.
thing, isn't it? And then it's just snowballed. And I just didn't realise how much demand there was going to be. I think for me, I initially thought it's going to be super saturated. Only VAs, I'm never going to be able to make it in the market. But actually, once you start tapping into your ideal client, you soon
Mm.
realise there is a big demand for it.
And I suppose referrals is such a big part of where you find new clients because they'll go, God, I've just started with Chloe Pop and she's amazing at whatever networking event they're at. And they'll then reach out to you. And have you found lots of clients start with like, they always go, I'll start small and then build it up. And they have. They've started at like, I don't know, 5, 10 hours and then built it up just because confidence over time, confidence has
Do you
grown.
know
Or
what?
have they just gone
No,
in?
no, I haven't noticed that at all. I've actually, what I tend to do is when I have like my initial meetings with the clients, I'll say to them, what sort of support are you looking for? Where's your bottlenecks? And, where do you want to be? And how do we get you there? And
Mm.
then they'll sort of go away, have a little think about what it is they actually are struggling with, what's taking up a load of their time. Send me that over, and then I will literally just say to them, I think it will take X amount of time of my week or of my month, whatever,
Mm.
and then we go from there. And so yeah, we've kind of always gone full in, which is really
Yeah,
good.
it
But
is.
again, 100% of them are people that knew me anyway, so it's kind of like you don't have to prove yourself, which is quite nice.
Yeah,
I think the
yeah.
good thing about existing network is that if you meet somebody new, obviously, like you say, you would have to try and like get them to trust you and understand your skill set. Because I think for us, it's how do you quantify what we do? We can sit there and go, oh yeah, I'm amazing at doing this, but actually the proof's in the pudding, isn't it?
And how many clients have you got now?
I've just signed up my seventh one, so I'm getting a bit, as in I've got seven on the go at the same time. It's snowballed so quickly, and what I'm doing now is there's things, for example, one of my clients has just asked me to do a load of data work. Well, that's not my specialty. However, I've now got an associate on board who's a specialist in data analytics. So I pass that on to her, she can do it, and then the client's happy because they've got what they want, but equally it frees me up to continue to do what I'm actually really good at, which is not numbers. But they all
Yeah.
know that. All of my clients know that I'm not good at numbers, so this is not new news.
That is insane. You basically got a new one, over a new one, a new client a month.
Yeah, I'm hustling, Anna. Like, I'm not stuffing. I'm
Are
doing a
you
lot.
are you always reaching out? Is that going to be? I know we've spoken about this briefly before. Is that what you're wanting to do? Just continuous outreach, or do you think you'll get to the point where you'll go, okay, enough clients for now, or is it just
So
sort of building?
yeah, do you know, I don't want to sound like a total dick, but I haven't actually had to market that much because I've had people come to me and say, "Hey, I've seen, it's because I'm on LinkedIn, right? And I'm out and
Yeah,
doing stuff. Actually, I've seen you about. Can you do some work for me?" In fact, one of the chaps that has just reached out to me, and if he sees this, he'll be annoyed. But I interviewed with him last May, in a year ago in May, and I got to the final two and I didn't get it, and I was really gutted because I put loads of effort into the job, did a presentation which I didn't need to do, blah blah blah. I was absolutely gutted. Anyway, he messaged me a couple of months ago and said, "Oh, can we have a chat? Because I'd love to work with you." And I was like, "Yes." And I said to him when I met him, I said, "Oh, did you make the wrong decision?" He was like, "No, I'm not saying that." I said, "I think that's what you're saying."
brilliant.
It was really good. And yeah, and I think, and I always say to people, like, just don't burn bridges and just, keep the comms and the dialogue going with people, and
Yeah.
people will come back, and it might, I've spoken to VAs who are struggling to get their first client and what have you, and it's just a case of just go out there, put yourself out there, don't be afraid. Because I think when I first started, I had no clue how to network. Like, no one teaches you how to network, right?
Mm.
I went out to some really dodgy network, really, really dodgy, like freebies. They were not my people. They're nice, but they're not my peeps. And so I
Mm.
always say to people, go and hang out where your people are hanging out. Like, if your target market is trades, go to a BNI because they'll all be there. If your target market is, you know, professionals, go to Network My Club. There's different tiers of networking. And
Yeah.
I have to say, the first networking I ever went to, I literally walked into the room and I felt so sick. I was like, I don't want to do this. I just want to leave. You know, when you just tap out, I'd want to tap out.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I forced myself to do it, and I'm so glad I did because, 6 months on, I can literally walk into a room of 100 people and I'm not, it doesn't freak me out.
Yeah.
It is so confidence building because it was kind of like, you fail or you succeed. These are your choices. You're 2 feet in. You don't have a choice with business. You either just put yourself out there and get it done, or you
Mm.
stay behind the scenes and you don't become visible and you
Yeah.
don't get far.
I suppose once you've practice with networking, because once you've walked into that room and had that like fear over and over and over again, you do just start to, I suppose you stop worrying so much about what people think, and you just go, right,
Yeah,
I'm here to meet people, make connections, and then that's sort of, it's like you're at work, you're just sort of doing your
yeah,
thing, and then you go. And I suppose once you
yeah.
squish that fear, and then you
Yeah.
can actually learn to sort of enjoy it, and actually,
100%. Yeah. I love going to network at my club, for example. Like they do great lunches. I was rave about the lunches. It's like a highlight for me. But like you get to meet like decent people, and I think if you go into networking with sale in the front of your head where you're like, I'm going in, I'm going to make sales, I'm going to meet people, it's going to convert, blah, blah, blah. That is not the right attitude to have, because I just think that that is not going to get you far. People do not want you to be thrusting leaflets and business cards in their faces. Like, by all means,
mm,
connect, but nobody wants to hear your sales pitch. And I have to say, I've been to networking where it's been like speed dating, and you have to do your pitch every time you change the table. And by the end of it, I was just like, I just do back office stuff. I just lost the will to live. I was like, I don't care. They presumably don't care what I do. Like,
yeah.
and actually, I got to a point where I was saying, my name's Claire. I'm a mum. I'm a wife. I like going to the gym. That's me. Not Clary Poppins doesn't define me. It's a huge part of my life now, but it doesn't define who I am.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you did that, if you had to do a sales pitchy introduction at every networking, it would take any sort of fun out of it. And you don't really meet the person because they're too busy trying to like pitch at you. The last networking event I went to, I was surprised by how many business cards I went away with. And that's sort of so easy. It's like you go home with business cards, you've got the contacts, you remember their name, you see who they work for. And I didn't take any business cards, classic me. But yeah, it's just like the best way, because actually it's really hard when you're in a conversation and sort of moving around the room sometimes to get everyone's details and share contact numbers, what have you. So yeah, I always think business cards, even though I thought they phased out, are super easy. You can just say, get in touch, let's meet for a coffee or something
Yeah,
after.
yeah.
What personality trait do you think has helped you most as a VA?
Oh, being tenacious. I'm literally like a dog with a bone. Like if I want something, I'm having it, and I won't stop until I've got it. And resilience as well. I will always say, if you're not tenacious, if you're not like as like thick-headed as I am, resilience,
Mm,
you've got to have thick skin. Like I've worked
mm,
from some real nasty people before. And I think obviously that comes with the territory of doing this for 16 plus years.
yeah,
You experience all sorts of people. You've got like super relaxed ones, and then you're really, really high maintenance ones. And I know from talking to some of the Pally Talk girls, like some of them have some real dodgy bosses, like nice but demanding. And I think
yeah,
over the years you just get that resilience built up until the point where you go, this is my job and I'm not taking any of it personally, because if Mr. Boss is upset about something and throws his toys out of the pram, it's not ever personal.
mm,
9 times out of 10, I mean, there are probably times where it is personal, but for me certainly it's like, it's not personal. Just get on with your job and do it well.
yeah. What's the most extraordinary thing you've ever been asked to do?
Well, I can't tell you the most extraordinary thing, because in case one of my bosses sees this and finds out, and then he'll be cross.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you off record. I was asked to organise a wake before, so that was interesting for my boss's partner. So that was not nice, and it was a strange experience. I've also been asked to childmind children for a surgeon who forgot that he had a list that day on the operating table, and he brought his children in and said, "You need to look after them because I've got to operate." And I was like, "Okay."
Which is quite a daunting task. Pre kids. Was that pre
I,
your daughter?
oh yeah, I was in
Yeah,
my
it's
20s.
daunting.
I did
Yeah.
not have a clue. I just got some colouring for them and just put them down in the corner and just minded them. And I thought, oh my god, I can't. I don't know what to do. Obviously, I'd be all right now with a 5-year-old. I know
Yeah.
exactly what I'm doing. But then I was like, phew.
It just shows how much trust. Like people's children are their like most valuable thing in their life,
Yeah.
and then they're just like, here you go, look after them. Um, what's something that surprised you about working freelance?
The fact that you can go into any business and make impact and how easy it is, because what founders tend to not realize is that if you get help, all of a sudden your life becomes easy. And for us, it's easy peasy, right? We come in and just go, I'm just going to get you to inbox zero, and I'm just going to put these SOPs in place, and everybody's streamlined, and maybe put everybody on Slack, for example, and take them off WhatsApp and get all the comms streamlined. And for us, that's like a 2-second job. Is we've been there, done it all the time. But
Yeah,
actually, for them, they don't have time to be implementing any sort of process, and they don't have time to be sitting doing their inboxes. So it's really nice making the impact for people with what I would say is kind of simple changes for them.
yeah.
And actually, the demand that's there as well, that surprised me. I thought it was going to be oversaturated with VAs, but whilst there's a lot of us, there really is a lot of us, there's still so much demand for
Mm.
business owners, and especially for my target market. There's
Do you find that founders or your clients are surprised by how quickly the what you call small changes make a difference in their work life? Are they like, wow, this has made such a difference?
I've had a couple. So I've got a restaurateur that's on my books at the moment, and the whole process was chaotic. The GMs were
Mm.
doing their own thing, the operations managers was doing another thing, and actually I brought it all together to make a process for like fuel payments, end of day summaries, that sort of thing. It was all done
Yeah.
on emails, and you had to go and find each email and tally everything up. And I said, no, we're just going to make a Slack workflow so that everyone can just go on. It's click 2 buttons, simple, rather than them having to type everything out manually, then me having to go in and manually pull all the data. I was like, well, why would we not just put
Yeah.
this on an automated workflow that pulls straight through to an Excel, so then you can analyze your data as well, just simple things. But for them, they would never have even thought about it. For
Yeah.
them, that's how they were working, and it was working absolutely fine. But for me,
Mm.
because I see things differently, like all
Yeah.
EAs do, like for me, that makes their life easier.
Yeah, I just as you're talking, I was thinking about all the all the things that could be straightened out at Pally Talk, and I think you're right. As a founder, you don't see it; you just sort of live with the chaos. And if someone
Yeah,
looks in from the outside, they're like, "Well, that can be changed, that can be changed, that can be changed." But it's just implementing,
yeah.
isn't it? Which takes time. And what advice would you give to someone thinking about going freelance as a VA?
I would say, and actually, I've had these conversations twice in the last month with new VAs thinking about starting out. I said to them both, just do it. Just don't worry about it. One of them said, oh, well, I can't start because I don't have the money to do it. And I said, well, the thing is, it's a service based business, right? So you don't need, you know, thousands of pounds for a new product, right? Or manufacturing, whatever it is.
Mm,
You literally just need your insurance and your ICO registration. And other than that, once you've got that, you just go and market yourself out to your clients. And a laptop, I think we're quite lucky in our industry, is actually the overheads are relatively low.
yeah,
So for me, it's just start. Like, don't let things be blockers. Don't let money be a blocker. Because for me, I bootstrapped it. I didn't have any money, but I figured it out.
yeah,
Just do it. And I think if anybody wants to, chat and have any advice from me, I'm always more than happy. I'm always on obviously Pally Talk. I'm obviously on all the forums. Like, more than happy to like share tips and tricks and like things that I've learned in the last 6 months as well. Like I've learned an awful lot. I've made mistakes, as everybody will. Yeah, just get on and do it.
yeah,
But be too in. Don't just be like. I think that's the other thing, is that I think if you're trying to do it alongside a job, there will always be a blocker, and there will always be
yeah.
something stopping you from really getting your teeth into it.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant advice. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on and chatting.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me.